and extracting data from text or validating those texts to any specific pattern is an important requirement in programming. Now, JavaScript uses regular expressions to describe a pattern of characters. Hi everyone, this is Shantini from Edureka, and in today's session we will have a look at the different methods of using these regular expressions in JavaScript. Now, before we begin the session, let's have a look at today's agenda. So first we will have a look at what are JavaScript regular expressions, or also called as JavaScript Regex. Then we will move on and have a look at the different methods such as modifiers, brackets, MetaCharacters, quantifiers, object properties, and object methods in the regular expressions. Now, before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the Edureka YouTube channel in order to stay connected. So what are regular expressions? Now, basically, a regular expression is a sequence of characters that constructs a search pattern. So whenever you search for any data in a text, you can use this search pattern to describe what exactly you are looking for. Now, talking about the JavaScript regex or the regular expressions, it is basically an object that describes a pattern of characters. So the JavaScript regexp class represents the regular expressions, and both strings and regexp define methods. Now, this uses regular expressions to perform pattern matching and search and replace function on text. Now, talking about the syntax for regular expressions, in JavaScript you just have to define any variable. For example, I'm taking pattern as the variable. Now, inside this you have the keyword new, and then you have to use the regular expression function, which is the regexp. Now, inside this function you have to pass parameters such as your pattern and also your attributes. So this is how you define your regular expressions in JavaScript. This is not just the only method, there's another simpler method. So all you have to do is just use the slash, put your pattern here, and then with another slash you add your attributes here. So this is another simple method of using your patterns or your attributes in your JavaScript regular expressions. So this is another very simple way of defining your regular expressions in JavaScript. You have the slash pattern slash attributes. Now, what are these pattern and attributes here? So basically, the pattern is a string that specifies the pattern of the regular expression or another regular expression. And the attributes are the optional string that contains the attributes which will specify your global, case-insensitive, and multi-line matches. Now, there are different methods and ways of defining these regular expressions in JavaScript. So let's have a look at modifiers first. So what are modifiers? These are used to perform any case-insensitive or global searches in JavaScript. So we have three different modifiers. First, we have the G modifier, which performs any sort of global match in your string. Suppose you are looking for any particular word from a string, it will perform a global search. That is, it is not bounded by any particular constraint. It will globally perform the search and find out that word for you. Next up, we have the I modifier. Now, I modifier performs the case-insensitive matching. For example, you have a word which contains of both the capital letters and the small letters, but while you're performing the search, it would take a case-insensitive matching. And finally, we have the M modifier. Now, this performs a multi-line matching. If you have 3 or 4 lines in your string, it will perform a multi-line matching, that is, find out that particular word or character from all of those lines present in your string. So these were the three main modifiers that we have. Now let's move on and see how these modifiers actually work in JavaScript. So here we have an example where we will see how your G modifier works. So for that, first we have to take a string and then we have to define the pattern. So suppose I'm writing a string as welcome to Edureka to learn JavaScript. And in my pattern, I'm looking for the word as to, and it will perform a global matching. That is, it's not just gonna look till here or only the second half of the sentence or my string. It will perform a global search in my string, wherever it finds the word to, it will give us the output. So in my string, I have the word to in two different places. So it should give me the output as two of these. So now let me save this one and we will open the HTML file. So we have defined a button in the program as well. And the paragraph tag says, "Welcome to Edureka JavaScript Regex tutorial." And on click, we will have the function performed. So here we have a button where as soon as we click this button, we will have the function performed. And inside our function, we have defined our string and the pattern matching as well. So as soon as I click here, it will show me the result as 2, 2 because it found out two different matches for this particular word. That is, one is here and the second one after Edureka. Now talking about the I modifier, which performs the case insensitive matching. So for example, I'm writing the Edureka here with a capital letter E. And now in this pattern, I'm going to write Edureka normally without any capital letter. And I'll put the attribute as I, which is my I modifier. So now let me save this. And now let me click here. So now you can see that the output says Edureka. Whereas in my search pattern, I just wrote Edureka with small letters, but then it performed a case insensitive matching here and it still gave me the result as Edureka written here. So in this case, it wouldn't matter if you are writing the string in capital letters or small letters, it will still find out that particular word for you. Now next up is the M modifier. So how does this M modifier works? It looks for this particular word even if you have multiple lines in your string. So what happens here is that even if you enter another new line here and just write Edureka online courses, and I'm taking this as another line. So even when I save this one, and then when I go to the output, it still finds me the Edureka word here. So here I haven't used the caps letter, and for M, it doesn't go for case insensitive. So it will just provide me this particular word here. So this was all about the modifiers and how we can use them for our regular expression in JavaScript. Now next up, we have the brackets. Now talking about brackets, they are basically used to find a particular range of characters. So the first expression shows that there's ABC inside square brackets. Now this particular expression is used to find any character that is present between the brackets. So what you can do is you can pass any character or any set of character inside this particular square bracket, and that will be matched with your string. Then next up, we have the power symbol with the characters that you are searching for. Now this helps you find any character that are not between the brackets. So what happens is that if you specify any particular word inside this expression, the output would show everything in your string except these particular characters. Then next up, we have the digits 0 to 9. Now this particular expression inside the square brackets finds any digit between the brackets. Suppose you're looking for the number 2 in any particular string, you just have to write 2 inside the square brackets and it will give you the result, whether it's present in your string or not. And the next up is the power symbol with the digits. And this symbolizes that any other value in your string will be displayed apart from this particular character that you have mentioned inside the brackets. So it finds any non-digit that are not present between the brackets. So now let's have a look at the examples of how this works. So let me just change my string into something like Edureka online, and let me add more digits like 1, 2, 3. So for the first bracket, we had the square brackets with any particular character. So here I've used the word Edureka inside the square bracket. So basically this will give me the output as only Edureka. So it will show me the result that Edureka is present inside my string, and it will just match with it and give me only this particular word here. So now let me save this. And now when I go here and click here, it shows Edureka. So let's try something else. For example, I only want to see the letter O here. So I have just taken the character O inside these square brackets, and now I have saved this one. And now when I click here, it just shows me the letter O here. because it will just match the particular letter that I've mentioned inside these square brackets and omit everything else from my string. Now, in the same example, if I change the expression to this, so now what will happen here is that apart from this particular letter, that is O, everything else will be printed in my output. That is, everything else will be matched with my string. So I'll get to see all the other letters or digits apart from O. So now let's save this. Now when I go back to my website and click here, so you can see that it prints every character here other than the letter O. Now let's have a look for the digits. So for example, I'm trying to match my string with digits 1, 2. So let's save this. And now when I go back to my website and click here, you can see that it has matched with my string because I do have the value 1 and 2 in my string. So it has given me the output as 1 and 2. Now in the same bracket, when I add this symbol and then save it, and now go back to my website and click here, you can see that it gives me every other value other than 1 and 2. So it provides me Edureka online and also prints the digit 3, but does not match the digits 1 and 2. So this is how the brackets work. Moving on, next up, we have something called as MetaCharacters in JavaScript regular expressions. So now in MetaCharacters, you just need to use these characters or letters in order to match certain things from your string. So first of all, we have W, which looks for a word character. But there's a catch here. So we have this small letter and capital letter thing going on in MetaCharacters. So we have the small letter W that looks for any particular word character. And then next up, we have the capital letter W, which finds any non-word character. So the first one will give you any particular word, and the second one will give you any non-word character here, that is any digit or anything else that's present inside your string. Then next up, we have the small letter D that finds a digit, and also the capital letter D, which finds a non-digit character. In the same manner, we have a small letter S and a capital letter S. So the small letter S will find any white space character in your string, whereas the capital letter S will find any non-white space character. So basically, it will match everything else other than the white spaces, whereas the small letter one will only match the white spaces in your string. Then we have the small letter B and capital letter B. The first one finds a match at the beginning or the ending of any word, whereas your capital letter looks for a match but not at the beginning or end of the word. It basically matches anywhere in the string. Then we have the character F. Now this finds a form feed character. And then we have R, which basically finds a carriage return character, and V finds a vertical tabbed character. And finally we have T, which is used to find any tab character in your string. So now let's take a few examples of few of these meta characters and see how you can use them. So for example, let me change this string into something like 100% genuine courses, and we have an exclamatory sign here as well. So now let's see how these meta characters work. So while using these meta characters, these are followed by a backslash here. So you have to insert a backslash first and then take a small W first. And then now let me save this. And now let me just click here. So now you can see that what are the things printed here is 100 genuine and courses. So it takes any word character basically. So it has omitted the person symbol and also the exclamatory symbol here. And also it does not consider any of the white spaces either. Now changing this to the capital letter W and saving it. Now let's go back and try and see what happens. So now you can see that as soon as you change it from the small w to the capital letter W, the output has also changed. It only matches your percentage symbol, the white spaces, and the exclamatory symbol. So it only returns these particular things, that is all the non-word characters in your string, and returns you the value. In the same way, if we take D that returns only the digits and save it and then go back to the website and click here, now you can see that it only returns the digit value, that is 100, 100. And for the non-digit, we have the capital D here. Now when we save this and click here again, so we have everything else apart from our digits. So we have all the symbols, all the characters, including the white spaces, but definitely not the digits. Now let's try for the white spaces. So for that, we have the character as S. Now the small letter S returns all the white space characters. So let's save this and go back to the website and let me click here. So let me zoom this and you can see this tiny bit comma that you can see here, which basically represents the space that is here. So it has taken two spaces, so one before the comma and one after the comma, and it just gives us the white space, so nothing much to see. But as soon as we change it to a capital letter S, you will find out the difference. So let's save this, and now when I go back here, so now you can see that no white spaces have been returned. It provides you every other value in your string apart from the white spaces. That is the one between 100% and genuine, and the second one between genuine and courses. Now next up we have the quantifiers. So in quantifiers, we basically match any particular or any number of characters that are present in your string. So for the first one, we have the n plus. N is any character that you're looking for, and this matches any string that contains at least one n. So for example, you're taking the expression as e plus, it will look for the number of e's that are present in your string. Next up, we have the n star. Now this matches any string that contains 0 or more occurrences of n. So any particular character that you use here with the star symbol, it will find out any string that contains 0 or more occurrences, that is more number of this particular character. Then next up we have the n question mark. Now this matches any string that contains 0 or 1 occurrence of n. And then we have the n inside curly braces, we have x. Now what happens here is that it will match any string that contains a sequence of x n's. That is the x number of n's or the x number of characters, the particular character that you have mentioned inside that particular string that you have used. Same way we have x comma y inside the curly braces, which matches any string that contains a sequence of x to y n's. That is, it takes a range from x to y and finds out that particular character. And next up we have just x comma and nothing at the end. So it will take any string that contains a sequence of at least x n's. So it does not have an end point, but it has only a beginning point defined as x. And the final one is the n with the dollar symbol. Now this matches any string with n at the end of it. So these were some of the quantifiers. Now let's have a look at how these quantifiers work. So now again, let me change this string into something like hello, welcome to Edureka, and then let me just add a sequence of numbers like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, something like this. So basically, to show you that how this sequences would be matched, I've taken a string like this. So now for example, I want to match the character E with my string and C. So the first one was plus symbol. So with my character E, I have added the plus symbol here. Now let me save this and go back here and click here, and now you can see that it has printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 E's. That is, it has matched my string with the number of E's that are present, and you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In total, we have 5 E's present in this particular string that has been matched. Now let me change the symbol to a star and save it. And now go back and click here again. So now you can see that it shows me even the spaces of where these characters are present. That is, it includes all the other characters and the white spaces involved here. So I have hello. So first it's HE. So we have the comma here, which shows that we had a character before this. And then again we have LLO here. And then we have white space here. We have LLO, and then we have a comma here, and then we have a space here, and then we finally begin with welcome to Edureka again. So this is how the sequence goes on. It basically separates these white spaces and also all the other characters with the help of comma and shows you the occurrences of your character that you are trying to match with. The next up, we have the question mark symbol here. So now let's save this and go back here and look out for this. So here also it provides me the same output. Now what happens is that it looks for 0 occurrences as well. So let me take another character as A and save this. Now when I go back to the website again and click here, you can see that we still have A at certain place, and it will give you that particular character where it's situated and also any number of occurrences here. Now this question mark also looks for 0 or more occurrences. So even if your character is not present here, it will return you a value with all the white spaces and characters that are present here. So for example, let me take the character as N, which is not there in this particular string. And now let me save this. Now when I go back to the website and click here, you can still see that the number of characters that I have, but it also returns me this value because it takes 0 or more occurrences. Now there are no N's here, that is, it considers it as 0 occurrence. So now if I want to get the digit here, I have to take the digit inside curly braces, and here in this string I have 1 3 times, that is in 1, 1, 2 and 1, 2, 3. So I have to take the meta character digit because I'm looking for the digit followed by a backslash, and inside the curly brackets I have the digit mentioned as 1. So now I'll just save this and go back to my website and click here. Now you can see that it returns all the digits or the sequence where 1 is present. So for the first one I have 1, and then in 1, 2 I also have 1, and in the third sequence, that is 1, 2, 3, I have 1. So it returns me the entire sequence along with the digit. Now these were about the quantifiers. Next up we have something called as the object properties. Now talking about some of the object properties, first we have the constructor. Now this property returns the function that creates the regexp objects prototype. Next up we have the global property. Now this checks whether the G modifier is set or not. And then we have the ignore case, and it checks whether the I modifier is set or not. And next up we have the last index that specifies the index at which to start the next match. And finally we have the multi-line. Now this checks whether the M modifier is set or not. Now let's have a look at the example of how these properties work. So let's take the string as hello, welcome to Edureka. And now inside the pattern, let me just specify well, and then I have the G modifier here. And now in the result, all I have to do is take the pattern 1 or the variable that I've named here dot global. So this will check for my G modifier and it will see whether it is set or not. So that is why we use the global property here. So now let's save this and go back to the website, and now let me click here. Now it returns true. So basically it tells me that the G modifier is set here, and as soon as I am typing well here, it's performing a global search in order to find these particular characters. Now for the ignore case property, what I have to do is I have to specify I here instead of G, and I've taken the characters as hello without specifying any capital letter H here. And in the result section, all I have to do is change the global property to ignore case. Now I will save this one. So basically it should return the string as hello, because even though I have taken the H as a small letter, it should not matter because I'm using the property as ignore case. And it checks for the I modifier whether it's set or not. So here I have to use the property as ignore case. So now let me save this and go back to my website. And now when I click here, it returns the value as true. Because even though I have only passed the characters as hello without the capital H, but it still ignores the case and returns me that this particular string is present here and the I modifier is set, which ignores all the capital letters or the small letters here and just returns you those characters. So this is how the object properties work. Now moving on to the final section, we have the object methods. Now talking about methods, the first one is we have the compile method. The compile method is the most common one, which is used just to compile any particular regular expression. And then we have the execute method. Now this tests for a match in a string and returns your first match. Next up, we have the test method. Now this tests for a match in a string and returns a value as either true or as false. And finally, we have the toString method. Now this particular method returns the string value of the regular expression. So now let's see how these methods work in JavaScript regular expressions. So here I have the string as hello, welcome to Edureka. And here I have to define the method as new, the regular expression method that I have to use here. And then for example, I'm looking for the character E. So what happens here is that it will return me the first match that it finds in the particular string. So here I have the execute method inside which I'm gonna pass the parameter as my string from where it's gonna match this particular character. So let's save this and go to the website, and when I click here, it returns me the first E, that is the first E that's present here in hello. So basically it will take the particular character and look in the string and return you just the first match that has found out and then not check further in your string. Now next up is the text method. So now let's check for this same string and same character, but we just have to change the method here and we have the test method. So now what this will return is that it will just check whether this particular character is present in my string or not. So it will just look for a match in my string and return me the value as true or false. So let me save this, and now when I go back to my website and click here, so you can see that the value returned here is true because definitely the character E is present inside the string. Now if I change this value to Z and now save this and now go back to the website and click here, now you can see that the value has changed to false because we do not have the character Z in this entire string here. So this is how these methods work in JavaScript regular expression. So here you have seen that there are different ways of defining your regular expressions. You can use modifiers, brackets, MetaCharacters, quantifiers, object properties, and even object methods for your regular expressions or to find any match in your string. So this was all about today's session. I hope you understood how you can use these different ways in your JavaScript regular expressions and how you can find out any match from your string. Don't forget to let us know about your opinion in the comment section below. Till then, thank you and happy learning.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!